I have a couple things. I think for one, before you date someone and before you even like have a conversation with them, or really even before you decide to be friends with them, there are two things that you can tell right off the bat that are really helpful to decide if they're a person that's good for you to be around. For one, how do they treat the people around them? If you're a girl, especially look to see the way your man treats his mom, because that is how he will treat you. And then the second thing that goes along with that is how do they worship? Like if they're really invested in their worship and transparent about the way that they interact with the Lord, that's most likely how your interactions with them in your relationship will be as well. It's all based around covenant. So, I mean, those are just some things to think about right off the bat before you even ask yourself questions like, do they have the same values as me? Or do they, like, you can look for those things right off the bat. And then I would also just say, like, I don't think there's, controversial topic. I don't think there's such thing as, like, finding your person. I think that love is a choice. And so I don't necessarily know that there was a moment when Josiah and I were dating. I mean, there was, but it wasn't like in 1 second. It was over time where I decided that he was the person that I wanted to love forever. And the more that I pictured my life long term, the more that I could see him being the other person in it with me. And so I think, too, just another thing to think about is, like, when you're dating or when you're thinking about dating or whatever that looks like, kind of imagine what your life would be like with that person. Not to a point where, you're, like, in fantasy land, but, like, to a point where you're like, yeah, could I picture this person, like, raising my kids with me? Like, even just like silly things too. Like, who am I gonna want to like make breakfast for? Like stupid stuff, right? But it's real stuff. So I just think the person that you are making the choice every day to care about and to put, like Ethan was saying, before yourself every day, that's a choice. So it's not really as much about finding your person as it is about committing to your person.
Really good. Really good.
I would just say, like, thank the Lord. It sounds weird, but, like, in your heartbreak, like, be thanking the Lord, because ultimately at the end of the day, he knows what he's doing. And so if he allowed someone to break your heart, it's because his plan is better. And so he knows that that's not the person that you're intended to be with at the end of the day. So just be thinking about that too, and thank him, because, like, thank God that heartbreak could have lasted way longer if I would have stayed dating that person. And, he brought you out of that much sooner than he could have. And so that's, his plan. So thank him. Yeah, I also just think, like, it's important to keep in mind, we kind of touched on this already, but, like, everything that you do in your current relationship is actually for your marriage. And so, like, even if you don't end up marrying the person that you are currently dating, you're both protecting one another's future marriage. Regardless of whether or not you get married to each other, it's still important to set those boundaries in a biblical way so that neither of you are messing with your future spouse. And then one other thing just to add on that someone told me once that was, like, really valuable to me is, like, typically when you date someone, wherever that line ends up is where you typically pick up with the next person. So however far you went with the person that you're currently dating, you're probably going to want to start there with the next person that you date, which is just another thing onto what Ethan was saying as to why that can be so dangerous, because obviously you can only cross the line so far until you get too far. So it's just, like he said, it's just not worth pushing it.